Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie for those who don't know me, reviewing Love is Blind. I almost said Sweden. Where are we? Germany. Season 1, episodes 9 and 10, the finale and the reunion. So before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. I didn't see the point in reviewing the finale because it would have taken me all of 2 minutes. Okay, I felt like it was a waste of, they should have just, I don't know, they wasted my time. But the reunion, I didn't do it yesterday because I thought they were going to release a dubbed version at least like after 24 hours, and they haven't. So I just had to sit there and read it. But it's fine because y'all have been practicing your reading anyways from these clips. So we're all going to read today. Starting with the finale, the first wedding is Hanny and Andrew. Not Andrew. Who is this Andrew? What's his name? What's your name, man? Daniel. God. Hanny and Daniel's wedding. And as soon as this girl started explaining, I said, oh, it's a no.
Wollt ihr euer zukünftiges Leben gemeinsam miteinander verbringen und den Schritt in die Ehe wagen?
Ich habe dir in letzter Zeit oft gesagt, was ich für dich empfinde. Trotzdem habe ich das Gefühl, dass die Zeit einfach für uns zu kurz war, um uns wirklich ein Ja zu geben. Ein Ja für immer und ein 100%iges Ja. Und ich hoffe, du kannst das verstehen.
Das ist gut. Dankeschön für alles.
I'm happy that Daniel was not there for the small talk. He was just like, okay, cool. You don't, all right, bet, I'm leaving. Like, end of story. You don't want me? Bye. I loved it. It was great. I think based on what we saw on the show, Daniel would have been a great person for her to be in a relationship with. But at the end of the day, if it's not an emphatic yes, it's a no. She was not sold on him enough to make a good decision by marrying him. So the only answer could have been no. The other couple who said no was Sally and Medina. Now, this was not a surprise to me at all. However, what was a surprise was I opened up my TikTok. I think it was the day the Americans were banned for like 12 hours. And I see this video. And I said, oh, what? What happened? What's going on? So I'm not sure at this point. I wasn't sure, like, so did they end up dating afterwards? Did they, like, what's happened? They look really happy. They look really they look a lot more romantic than anything we saw on the show. So I was like, I guess I'm intrigued to see where things go. We'll talk about that when we talk about the reunion. And the only couple that said yes, to no surprise to us, was Ilias and Alina. I probably will forever have my thoughts about Ilias, but we knew Alina was going to be 100% a yes. So Ilias would have been stupid to let go of a girl like Alina. I know some of us, well, can I say us? Because y'all were the ones who were like, she's an actress. I was still indifferent, but I guess I could say us. Let me include myself. We were kind of skeptical on whether or not she was this agreeable in real life, but it seems like she was, and she agreed to marry this man. So, congrats. It is over a year later, and Ilias and Alina are still married. He, of course, loves that she is so understanding and so caring and just so great. Oh my gosh, it was too much. He says that although he couldn't say he loved her until he got to the altar, he felt it the entire time. And Alina says she also knew that he loved her the entire time. Really? The entire time? He loved you while he was talking to him? Okay, sure. Apparently they've had a few disagreements. One of the things they've disagreed on is whether or not she should change her last name. But they talk about all of that.
Also ich will meinen Namen auf gar keinen Fall aufgeben, weil das habe ich immer gesagt.
Aber es ist ja schon gängiger, dass man das von der männlichen Seite übernimmt.
Ändern würde, dann würde ich
nicht.
so viel von meiner Identität irgendwie aufgeben.
Ich glaube, das war ein großes Learning, dass man sich mehr akzeptiert in jedem Punkt. Nur, dass wir nicht immer auf einen Punkt kommen müssen. Ja.
Es gibt auch, jeder hat auch seine eigene Wahrheit und man kommt halt nicht immer auf einen Nenner. Voll, dass man nicht immer recht haben muss.
I'm glad that we got to see them address some of their spats, because the way that Alina was going into this marriage, I was thinking long-suffering wife. She's just going to be a yes man in her relationship. And thankfully, she hasn't been. It still sounds like she's more of the go with the flow kind of person. Like whatever Ilias wants for the most part, she'll just go with it. One of the things that she wasn't going with initially was the last name thing. They came to some kind of a compromise, being like, okay, I guess hyphenating it would be okay. But at the end of the episode, we see that she has officially decided to change her name. So again, she continues to be agreeable. That was a joke. That was a joke. I like the idea of changing your last name. I would like my family to all have one family name. I mean, even the hyphenated name could be the name, but we have to agree on that. You know what I'm saying? But either way, she has agreed, which is true to Alina's character. We head to Marcel and Jen. In my opinion, this man has not understood in over a year what was the reason for their relationship dissolving. He thinks it was a lack of physical connection. He really needs that to feel that love for someone. Baby, it was deeper than that.
Einer meiner wichtigsten Sprachen der Liebe ist einfach diese Körpernähe. Und ich brauche das einfach und das war nicht gegeben. Und
kommt nichts mehr. Und das war für mich halt sehr schwer in Verbindung zu bringen. Und gleichzeitig hat Marcel, was ja auch fair enough ist, ein Bedürfnis nach Nähe gehabt.
Und dann habe ich mich dann ein bisschen zurückgezogen und habe halt weniger kommuniziert. Dass ich gemerkt habe, okay, ich kann nicht komplett frei sprechen, weil sonst wird es persönlich genommen.
Du hast einen Streit gesucht und hast mir gesagt, weil ich zu nett bin. Du hast mir ab dem ersten Tag gesagt, dass ich zu viel bin, dass ich ruhiger werden muss. Und das war unser erster großer Streit, weil ich zu nett bin. Ich habe es persönlich genommen, weil es persönlich war.
This man could barely ask the woman, hey, how are you doing? And he thought that sex would be on the table? How? Like, if this was a dating show, okay, maybe whatever, like just have whatever. But because this ends in marriage, you have to have a deeper connection than just sex. Yes, sex is important, but they couldn't even connect on the basics in their relationship. And he's focused on them not having a physical relationship. That is wild to me. Obviously, we saw him pull back a lot in their relationship. He attributes that to not being able to fully be himself. Apparently, there was a situation where he tried to express himself and she took it personal. And so he realized, okay, clearly I can't be authentic. She couldn't be herself either. And she still put in the effort in this relationship. The things that he was expressing were things that were literally personal to her. How else is she supposed to take it? She's going to take a personal thing personal. Like, just this man is... Anyways, I think he... I don't know. I don't even know what to think about Marcel, honestly. I don't know why he came on the show. I don't know why he stayed so long with Jen. He claims he still loved her and he would have, well, let me say, he still had strong feelings for her and he would have wanted to see the process through. But what we saw did not look like a man who had strong romantic feelings for somebody. Maybe strong feelings. Romantic? I'm not sure. He says that this process has taught him not to stay in a toxic relationship longer than he needs to. I hope he also learned that he feeds into the toxicity in said relationships. It was not solely on Jen that your relationship didn't pan out well. A lot of it was on you, based on the edit. Hanny and Daniel were basically the focus of this reunion. It was quite emotional. I did feel for Hanny, but then I also was like, I don't know, girl, it's looking a little bit sketchy. So Hanny is asked why she struggled to say I love you to Daniel. And she says that her not saying it doesn't necessarily mean that she doesn't feel it. She had been in previous relationships where she had been consistently cheated on and she had felt love for those people, but because of the hurt she was experiencing, she couldn't say the words. However, with Daniel, even though she didn't say it, she felt it. And he says he felt it the whole time. That's just going to be the theme. These people are going to say, oh, I knew the person loved me the whole time. Oh, okay, I'm sure. So they talk about... Well, they show her being very vain in the pods. Yikes. And the audience had a visceral reaction to Hanny. A lot of people were not impressed with the way she presented herself on the show.
die Show, die heißt Love is Blind und Hanny sagt, dass Aussehen ihr schon wichtig ist. Warum sitzt sie da eigentlich halb nackt, wenn man sie doch nicht sieht? Hat man ihr das Format nicht richtig erklärt? Sie ist mir definitiv zu aufgesetzt, allein schon das Kleid.
Ja, für mich war das ja von vornherein klar, dass genau solche Kommentare kommen werden. Sie ist auffällig, sie ist so, deswegen, sie will Follower.
Apparently, people are upset with the way Hanny dressed on the show and feel like that is a sign that she's not ready for marriage. Get a grip. Are we in the 1800s? What? Are y'all okay? The way that she dresses determines whether or not she's ready for marriage. So anybody who dresses very modestly, and modesty is also subjective, but whatever. Anyone who's modest is definitely ready for marriage by that logic. That is stupid. There are so many other reasons to pick on why this girl was not ready for marriage. How she dressed is not one of them. But let's go into some of the reasons why she probably wasn't ready. Her being unable to express her love for him in general, but also coming on the show knowing that she had such difficulty with expressing emotions and being ready for marriage. Like, those are things that I would look at more than how she dressed. And even the girls call it out too, and we're going to get to that in a second. On top of the fact that she was hung up on looks, that to me would make me question her readiness for marriage. Now, I do have, can I say controversial? I have a hot take when it comes to the whole Love is Blind thing. If I was ever in the process, I actually would talk a little bit about physicality, because for me, it is important that my partner knows that I am a Black woman. Absolutely. I do not care about the premise of the show or the perceived premise of the show. And I'm going to explain in a second, but like, it is very important that my partner knows that I am a Black woman. I'm not going to go into an engagement with any ambiguity about my race, my heritage, my culture, none of that. Okay. So I say the perceived premise of the show because everybody thinks, because the show is called Love is Blind, it is solely based on the physical. I don't think that. I think Love is Blind is, yes, about the physical, but also, can you fall in love with somebody based on the way that they present themselves to you? Point blank, period. Because realistically, you are going into the engagement blind, even if you knew what the person looked like. Seeing how this person acts day to day, seeing how they react to certain things, seeing how they relate with their family, with their friends, with strangers and all that stuff, that is the real test on whether or not this person is a good person for you. It's not just about the looks. So yeah, everybody gets hung up on that. Even the show, they say, oh, sight unseen. Can you fall in love sight unseen? I think that's one of the lesser issues, honestly. I need to see who you are. And did you accurately present yourself as who you really are? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can say anything and I fall in love with that. But love isn't blind. I can't just go off of your word. I have to go off of your actions. Anyways, I say all that to say there are other things to question Hanny about. The clothes, come on, let's be so for real. There was apparently a T page that exposed the fact that one of the castmates was able to sneak in a phone and they were looking up the men. So it was a woman. They were looking up the men and basing their decisions on already knowing what the person looked like. Now, we don't know who that person was, but a lot of people were speculating that it was Hanny. Well, based on how much they put an emphasis on her being so stuck on looks, I wouldn't be surprised if it was her. It's a good thing she was partnered up with Daniel because, I mean, well, maybe she already knew who she was going to be partnered up with if it was her. Jen, Alina, and Ilias all call Hanny's intentions into question, her feelings for Daniel into question, because according to them, she was very disparaging towards Daniel the entire process and even after the fact.
Zu Alina und mir hast du immer gesagt, dass du gar keine Gefühle für ihn hast. Wo ich mich dann frage, welche Intention, welche Ehrlichkeit ist da?
Du hast nie wirklich gut über Daniel gesprochen, was mir persönlich für Daniel sehr leid getan hat.
Aber ich habe immer gesagt, Daniel ist so gut zu mir.
Ich weiß halt nicht, wie viel davon stimmt oder wie viel davon Wahrnehmung ist.
Also nicht böse gemeint, ich muss eine Sache sagen. Lappen war, Hündchen war, solche Sachen wurden gesagt.
Doch, das stimmt.
Jetzt einfach mal zu dem zu stehen, was du getan hast.
Now, I thought they were going to say things like, oh, Hanny would say, I just don't know about him. I'm just not sure. And that's understandable. But you mean to tell me she allegedly called this man a puppy and a loser? Girl, I felt so bad for Daniel throughout this whole segment. Like, he looked so hurt. And I'm thinking, are they together? Like, what's going on? Because he was like trying to comfort her, but he also was offended by what was said, and he was trying to process everything that was going on. And I was thinking, oh, how painful must it be to be Daniel right now? I wouldn't be surprised if what's going through his mind is whether or not this was real or if it was just for show. Apparently the audience was wondering the same thing. Did she just come on the show to be an influencer? And she claims she isn't interested in sharing her day-to-day life like an influencer would. However, she would not be opposed to being on TV again. So yeah, I felt a little bit of saltiness, I felt a lot of saltiness coming from some of the people on the stage when she was talking about potentially being a reality TV star. It was giving jealous. It was giving, they're upset that she got a lot more attention than they did. But yeah, Hanny definitely got a lot of traction online, good and bad. Things go from bad to worse because we see some unseen footage between Hanny and Ilias. It's not looking good, sister.
Ich habe bei Alina gesagt, das ist der Beste.
Wir gehen da, wo du bist. Wie ist denn dein Gefühl?
Haben wir das geschafft, dass man so eine Bindung zueinander aufbaut? Das ist crazy. Du siehst ja, wie ich bin. Findest du, du kannst damit umgehen? Also er schiebt's auf mich, er sagt, ich werfe ihm Blicke zu und keine Ahnung was.
Was hast du denn eigentlich über Ilias gedacht, auch als du ihn das erste Mal gesehen hast? Hattest du nie Interesse?
Nein, nie hatte ich Interesse an Ilias. Er ist nicht mein Type, er ist von der Art nicht mein, da ist kein Geknister gewesen, gar nichts.
Obviously we know Ilias had an equal part to play in this whole flirtmance that was going on between them. However, he did the smartest thing he could have done at this reunion. You own up to everything. That was the trump card. You own up to everything. He said, yes, I was disrespectful to Daniel and to Alina. Yup, I did have feelings for the girl. Yup, it was out of line. Yup. That's what people miss when they come on these reunions. They get so, well, I don't mind when somebody gets defensive because it's entertaining to watch. But then they get confused why they're getting a lot of backlash because people just want to see you own up to the thing. The thing that we so clearly saw you do, the audience just wants you to own up to it. And Ilias knew that is the only thing that I can do at this point. Hanny, not so much. She says without a shadow of a doubt, she was never interested in Ilias at all. Now, I do believe that she wasn't romantically interested in him. But like I said in the reviews, I think she got a kick out of somebody being thirsty over her. I think she enjoys that kind of attention. And as much as she complains about being seen as only a pretty girl, the attention that comes with being seen as only a pretty girl is different than the attention she was getting from Daniel. And I think that does something to her. That's a sense of validation that she may not have been receiving from Daniel. And it felt good. And also, this is why you don't test people, because look at you now. Look at you now. The internet has turned on you. Your castmates, some of them have turned on you, all because you just wanted to test somebody. You wanted to test him and you wanted to test Daniel. For what reason? I still don't know. That is so stupid. Why are y'all testing your partners deliberately? If you feel like you have to do that, then you should not be in that relationship. But anyways, I think she did herself a disservice by towing the line. If you genuinely were not into that man, don't entertain it. As an engaged woman, there was no need for that. Because Hanny started getting emotional, the host decided to pivot off of them for a moment and move on to Pascal and Shella, who was also emotional about her situation.
Die Trennung hat mich sehr getroffen, ehrlich gesagt.
Die Gefühle von Shella für dich waren?
Ja, das habe ich. Sonst hätte ich mich auch nicht für sie entschieden in den Pots.
Aber ist es nur so gewesen, weil ich deine letzte Person gewesen?
Da warst du aber ab dem Zeitpunkt auch schon immer meine Nummer 1. Und da will ich dann halt auch einfach ehrlich zu mir sein, ehrlich zu dir, dass da der Funke, diese Magie, die einfach eine wahre Liebe ausmacht, bei mir fehlt.
And as much as he annoyed me to no end, I still cannot deny the fact that Shella should have been the one to end things earlier. He kept telling her, no, they equally should have ended things earlier. I can't say who. I would have liked for it to be Shella, but they both knew they were dragging it for too long, because they even talk about the letter and stuff too. In that letter, the man said he was not in a place to marry you. So why would you accept his proposal? And you, why would you propose? This couple absolutely confuses me. It was sad to see that Shella is still affected. She even said seeing him now is still hard for her. But babe, the writing was on the wall in bright red paint with iridescent lights. It just like there was no missing it, but she just decided to turn a blind eye, I guess. She has been dating since the show, but nothing has stuck, so her DMs are open. However, Pascal has learned a lot and he currently has a girlfriend. So, congrats. Now that Hanny has had a moment to collect her feelings and her words, she decides to address Daniel and their connection.
Menschen versuchen mich nachzuvollziehen, können das nicht nachvollziehen. Einzige, was es mir halt leicht gemacht hat, bist du. Und das weißt du auch, weil du hast so viel in mir geheilt. Eigentlich nur dank Love is Blind und weil ich dich an meiner Seite hatte.
Seid ihr ein Paar? Seid ihr Freunde?
Wir verstehen uns gut, wir sind füreinander da. Wir sind aber auch nicht nur Freunde. Wir helfen uns in jeglicher Situation. Und ich glaube, das ist erstmal das Wichtigste.
To go from fiancé to situationship is insane. Is insane. Oh no, we're not together, but we're not just friends. So a situationship. Friends with benefits. F-buddies. Like, how did we get here? It's no surprise that these two were still dealing with each other just from the way that Daniel was acting. I was like, oh, if they're not together, he clearly wants them to be together the way that he's trying to really comfort. And this girl, he was always looking at her so deep. I said, ooh, the man is in deep, okay? In deep. I said, this sounds like the same toxic cycle that they were both trying to break out of before coming on the show. This is only going to lead to hurt feelings. I don't see the point in them trying to keep this ambiguous relationship going. Either just be friends, but you might not even be capable of that, or leave it alone completely. We touch on Tolga and Sheila's relationship. We get to see some more footage of some of the things that Tolga was saying, definitely chipping at Sheila's self-esteem. And it is clear that they are not on good terms.
Ich wollte daran festhalten, ich wollte daran glauben, ich wollte nicht nach einem Tag abbrechen. Ja, du kannst es ja nicht nachvollziehen, was es bedeutet, auch sein Äußeres reduziert zu. Man muss sich vorstellen, man ist da zurechtgemacht und fertig und es war, die ganze Zeit ging das so.
Ich bin mit dem Druck auf Greta nicht klargekommen. Und das ist, wenn ich mit Momenten nicht umgehen kann, ich will keine Emotionen zeigen.
Ist das für mich selbstverständlich, dass ich nicht mehr die lockere, coole und nette Sheila sein kann? Das kann ich nicht. Bei den ganzen Sachen, die man an den Kopf geworfen bekommt, die man gesagt bekommt, ich bin eine starke Frau, ich bin selbstbewusst und ich bin tough, aber ich darf auch verletzlich sein.
Tolga says that things immediately took a turn when they got to Greece, and he couldn't cope with the pressure along with the intensity of the relationship, like the pressure of the show and the intensity of the relationship, because he told Sheila in the pods that he needed levity in his relationship. But Sheila's response is, how can I give you that if you are consistently criticizing me? How am I supposed to show up for you in that way? And that is a very valid point. Daniel pissed me right off in this moment because he chimes in and he says, you know, I don't want to be too hard on Tolga because I got to know him in a different light and I know that he's a great guy and he's so genuine. And again, Sheila has a rebuttal and she says, just because he was like that to you doesn't mean he was like that to me. Yeah, no shit. Like, I was so upset when he said that because how is that relevant to the conversation that's happening here? Like, Daniel, please. You are treading on thin ice already, and you were the only man that I liked. Oh, gosh. And here's why that pissed me off. It is personal, and it's also a trigger warning. So trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. I'm going to talk about sexual violence. When I was 14, I was molested, okay, by an elder in my church. Imagine how crazy that is. To this day, I am certain there are people on this planet who will say he's a good man. He's a good father. He was, because they're divorced now, a good husband. He was a great leader in church. That great, great, great man still molested me. Also, every time I talk about this, people want to be like, oh my gosh, Queen, I'm so sorry. Guys, I promise you, I don't know why I was so charged up. It definitely does not affect me the way that it sounds like it affects me. I'm good. I got a little riled up. I'm not like that angry at this man. I don't know this man from Adam, but I was just like, what a stupid thing to say. Like, this is not the time or the place. Please save it. Anyways, Sheila ends by saying she is a vulnerable girl, and she does put on a front that she's this tough, like, boss bee. But there's a softer side to her. And I wish that she showcased that more in the pods because, sis, the North remembers you were in it for the well, okay. Let me not say she was in it for the competition, but I think she got a kick out of the fact that she was the better woman out of Tolga's options. Let's not forget that. Maybe you could have found a better match, or you could have connected in a better way with Tolga if you showed more of that vulnerable side. Yes, they spoke about her past relationship and whatever, but I think there was more ego in this relationship than vulnerability on both sides. We end with Medina and Sally. It is to be noted that Medina has shaved off his locks. Now, I don't know if that was a testament to how much he loved this girl, but I said, oh, your hair is gone. Your hair is gone. Also, to the people who know about crochet, were those crochet locks or were those real? Because in this reunion, when they were showing the old clips, I said, well, wait now, it kind of looks like crochet now that I'm paying attention. But anyways, he has cut them off. These two clearly built some kind of bond that they couldn't shake. You know, he says that he did love her, even though he couldn't express that. We know that's the theme of the reunion. And yeah, they parted ways. They got together and they've parted ways again.
Ich habe mich trotzdem dann natürlich gefragt, warum hat es bei dir, Sally, dann doch nicht für ein Jahr gereicht?
So vor dem Bildschirm, so sagt doch einfach ja, aber obwohl ich wusste, wie es ausgeht. Und ich finde einfach, wäre uns beiden nicht gerecht gewesen, einfach das quasi zu überstürzen.
Was wäre denn gewesen, wenn man dich am Altar zuerst gefragt hätte?
Ich habe sogar noch so ja, Fragezeichen geschrieben.
Auf ihre Hand oder was?
Ich hätte tatsächlich ja gesagt.
Ist wahrscheinlich, dass ich auch ja gesagt hätte vielleicht.
Medina says that at the altar, he actually would have said yes if he would have gone first. And Sally's response to that was, I don't know what I would have said. I probably would have said yes just because he said yes. If they ended up breaking up, I guess they would have ended up in a divorce. Actually, maybe not. When there are higher stakes, sometimes you fight harder than you would if you don't have as much to lose. So I don't know, maybe they would still be married if they both said yes at the altar. But Medina is still open to exploring things, while we didn't really get an answer from Sally on whether or not she's keen on that. With these two, they say that they're close friends. And to me, I'm like, it always gave friends. I didn't see that deep romantic, like vulnerable connection. They had a connection, but was it that? No. Even throughout the process, I was like, I need them to talk more. They're not opening up the way that they need to in order to decide whether marriage is the right thing to do. So it's interesting that they still wanted to date after the fact, because for me, I was like, it was always giving friends. But yeah, now they're the best of friends, and we love that for them, I guess. And that is season 1 of Germany. I had a great time. The finale was whack, but I enjoyed this reunion. It was yeah. What happened to Hannah? We never spoke about that. I'm not gonna come back and talk about it, but if you know what happened between Tolga and Hanna, I'm sure we can guess. Let me know in the comments down below. Also tell me your thoughts on the season as a whole. This has been great. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Please stick around. There's so much more to come this year. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.